I'm going to press the record button on the Zoom. I'm looking in 2 different places so that you know I'm on Facebook Live in our private Facebook group, and I'm also on Zoom, which will be uploaded to YouTube later so that everyone can watch it at their leisure. So again, I'm Jennifer Gilman. I'm a Diamond Wellness Advocate with doTERRA, and today you're going to learn about 4 particular steps on how to close and how to approach that. So many people, that's where we get tripped up, right? We're like, we gave a good class, we shared the oils, we opened the bottles, everything's going well, and then all of a sudden, we're stuck at the how to close, right? Hey, Mindy, great to see you. So before we get going with the 4 tips on how to close, every week in our group, we have what's called a weekly IPA challenge. And you're like, what is IPA, Jen? IPA stands for Income Producing Activities. So we have a nice challenge every week. And it's just this one challenge weekly of doing a weekly income producing activity. And then you get a chance, hey Lauren, great to see you. So with that weekly IPA challenge, you get a chance to actually comment to say that you've done it. And then I get to pick the winner, right? So every week we put all the names of the people who went ahead and did this challenge. And then somebody is going to win a free oil. So let's go ahead and see who that is. We'll figure out who that is today. And last week's challenge was actually to join some kind of a networking group, social group, somewhere where you could meet new people and develop new relationships, right? So let's see who it is. It's Corey Campbell. So Corey Campbell is the winner. Hey, Julie, great to see you. So Corey Campbell is the winner this week, and she won a bottle of fennel, okay? So here's the fennel. And I like to, I always want to do a little bit of education on the oil, right? So if you'll just give me another 30 seconds to talk about fennel before we dive into how to close. And with fennel, a lot of people have been using it physically for different physical symptoms, but I want to tell you about the emotional aspect of fennel. It is the oil of responsibility. And this is so crazy, you guys, because I happen to know Corey Campbell's top 5 strengths. And I think it's number 1 is actually responsibility. So isn't that something? So she won fennel, which is the oil of responsibility. That is a huge strength of hers. So fennel supports the individual who has a weakened sense of self. The individual may feel defeated by life's responsibilities, having little or no desire to improve their situation. Everyone who knows Corey, they know she has no issue with this at all. So maybe she might gift this oil to somebody. But I love the properties of this oil is to help people seeking and wanting some sense of responsibility. And fennel encourages individuals to live with integrity within themselves, despite the judgment of others. So what a great oil that she's able to, I'll be mailing that out to her in California, and she'll be able to share with others. So let's move on, because we only have a total of 20 minutes together. Every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is where we're at right now, we do 20 minutes of learning. So, hey, Corey, you're the winner. You won fennel. So again, I'm looking in 2 different places. We've got Facebook Live and Zoom here. So let's dive into how to close. We're going to go over four key tips, okay? 4 areas that you might want to take some notes on, but I will post a lot of what I go over afterwards in our comments and also on the YouTube, because there's some really great resources. When I thought about how to close, I thought about my own journey. And when we look at this particular area that we want to improve on, I encourage you to look for people who do enroll a lot, because obviously there's a reason why they're enrolling a lot. They've probably nailed it and got the close down. This is a great topic for me to teach, because I do enroll a lot of people. I've won the incentive trips and I've won lots of different things, and that's based on enrollments. But it didn't come easy, you guys. I watched lots of videos. I watched people teach classes. I learned about the psychology of how to close, and I would watch things over and over again. So one of my favorite videos was from Teresa Harding. It's a video that is 1.5 hours long. And I watched it 3 times, and I took notes every time. And I started to duplicate her efforts, and I started practicing. So one of the ways you need to learn is to just kind of, or I encourage you to learn, is to watch videos and watch others and take all these nuggets and write them down. But the real real key here is to take action. Practice over and over and over again. And that's what I did and I continue to do. As I practice, I've taught hundreds of classes at this point, and I have had hundreds of one-on-ones in the last 5+ years. So that's what it is. There's no magic to it, but learn and then practice. Learn, practice, learn, practice. So let's go over these 4 areas. The first one is seek to understand. So seek to understand. What I mean by that is, do you feel like you understand the person's needs, whether it was a one-on-one or a class, particularly with one-on-ones, because you have a greater opportunity to learn what their needs are. So at the point where you're finished, seeking to understand, making sure that you really truly understand their needs, because if you go in with presenting purchasing options and you ask them if they want to start a membership, if they don't feel you met their needs, they're not going to say yes, probably. They're probably not ready. So did you ask them enough questions, or were you talking the whole time? Okay, so that's a real question to ask, because that was me, you guys. I like talking, so I was talking the whole time, and I had to learn how to ask questions so that I understood what their needs were. So number 1, again, was seek to understand. Do you feel and what that means is, do you feel you understand their needs? Did you ask enough questions? So here's a couple of good questions I'm going to give you, because I know it's fun to be able to write down scripts and kind of figure out, all right, this is the way Jen said maybe I could say this. Now, knowing me and my personality, how am I going to say it, right? So here's 2 different questions you can ask. Are you ready? All right. So here's the first one. Now that we've talked about some solutions, what are your top 3 health concerns that you are now ready to tackle? So I'm going to repeat that. Now that we've talked about some solutions, what are your top 3 health concerns that you are now ready to tackle? Okay, so I'll say it one more time. Now that we've talked about some solutions, what are your top 3 health concerns that you are now ready to tackle? Because you've just taught this great class, or you just have this great one-on-one, and you opened up all those bottles. What you first originally tackled, you want to make sure is this, did you get a really good feel? Do you truly understand what their needs are? Maybe something else has come up. Maybe they thought of additional things and now they want to tell you about it. Maybe now they're like, well, I didn't tell you about that I have digestive problems, and this is what's going on. And a lot of people I notice will not, they'll refrain from telling me about digestive problems and emotional issues till the end, because I needed to build trust. They weren't ready to share that with me. But do you think this is a really important thing for you to know? Yes, because now you can actually give them solutions for that. So that was one great question to ask. Here's another great question, and you would pick one or the other on this. So the other question I have for you guys is this. Before we go further, I want to make sure I understand your needs. And then you would recap their health concerns. Like if you wrote down the top 2 or top 3, you would say them at this point. And then you would say, am I missing anything here? Okay, so let me repeat that again. Before we go further, I want to make sure I understand your needs. And then you're going to fill in the blank, recap their health concerns. Maybe they said, I would like to focus on concentration, more energy, and weight loss. So you would recap that, and then you would say, am I missing anything here? Okay, so one more time, I'll repeat that. Before we go further, I want to make sure I understand your needs. You recap their top health concerns and the solutions that you discovered, and then you say, am I missing anything here? Okay, so again, we're still just on number 1, which was seeking to understand. You're making sure that you truly understand their needs. Now let's move on to number 2. Always remember, you're a guide, you're a helper, you're an advocate. You are a wellness advocate, right? So we need to step into that role fully. You're a guide, you're a helper, you're an advocate. Now lead them to the purchasing options. The reason I said that a couple of times is stand in that space confidently that you are their guide, you are their helper, and you are their advocate. And if you need to do some different things to help you with that confidence, then there's great tools. One is Superwoman Pose, and I was just teaching this to a 12-year-old a couple of hours ago. We were going over some different things, and I showed her what I meant, and then she did it, and then she's like, huh, I do stand like this sometimes, as she was realizing she was already doing something like that in her life. And I thought that was so cool, because if we could teach younger girls at an earlier age about confidence, what a great thing, right? So step into your role as a guide, a helper, an advocate, all right? So tell them, now you're gonna go right into purchasing options. So you're gonna tell them about retail, wholesale, with the wholesale with or without a kit, and you're gonna tell them about LRP. So how many times have you told them about retail and wholesale, and that was it, and you stopped? The Natural Solutions handout is a great tool to follow. You just continue to turn the pages and you follow along. Make sure you don't miss any of those points, because we're planting seeds. They might not be ready for LRP, but if you didn't plant the seed, you don't even know. They might have said yes. When I started going over LRP at the time of enrollment is when I now got 50% of them committed to going on LRP. Before, I missed that question. I wasn't confident, and I would just give them the purchasing options and stop there. And then I would say, like, would you like to become a wholesale member now? And I would get them going. I never talk about LRP. I was so shy of it. And once I started asking that question, 50%, you guys, I was missing out on 50% that whole time. So 50% said, okay, all right, we'll do it. You know, of course, it's how you say it and different things like that. But so you're telling them about retail, you're telling them about wholesale. When you talk about wholesale, you're saying it with or without a kit. You're telling them about LRP, and you're telling about signing up as a wholesale customer or a wellness advocate. Yep, you're going to offer both options. You're going to show them both of the forms and say, now, would you like to fill out this form, which is a wholesale customer, or would you like to fill out this one where you have an opportunity to also earn income? And then you just be quiet and you let them answer. Most likely, they might have a few more questions for you. And often, you know, you're finding, okay, now they're solid in whatever their answer was, but they know they had options, and you've planted another seed. Some people will jump right in and say, well, all right, I'll become a wellness advocate. That sounds great. Great. So we sign them up as the wellness advocate, and we schedule another time at a later date to do a business opportunity, okay? But make sure they know their options, all right? So don't you dare cheat them. You know, that is not okay. It's not okay to cheat them. So I really want to give you that dare to go ahead and give them everything, because it's not right to cheat them. You know, it's not right for you to not tell them about all their options, because if they don't find out about all their options, what if they're talking to someone down the road, 3 months down the road, and they find out, chatting with somebody, and they're like, huh, the girl I'm working with, I didn't even know you could do this as a business. Or, huh, the girl I'm working with never offered me wholesale pricing. I've paid retail. So I run into those people all the time, those retail people, and they don't, you know, guess what? They enroll with me, because the person before only offered them retail and never talked about 25% off. You know, so that's, you know, if the relationship's there, I always turn them back to them. But if it's not, it's my enrollment. So make sure you're giving them all of the options, because they deserve it. It's the right thing to do, okay? So just to go over that again, don't deprive them of any choices. You're going to talk about retail. Usually that's real briefly. You say you can buy these retail, but there's no discounting. The best way is get them wholesale. So notice I only put like 15 seconds at the most on that retail. Go right into the wholesale, okay? All right, number 3, customer care. So we went over seek to understand. Number 2 was you're a guide, you're a helper, you're an advocate. So stepping into that role and presenting the options. Number 3 is your customer care program. So now is a great time after you do that to explain what's going to happen next, all right? Paint this picture for them of what this is going to look like, because this is what sets you apart. This is the difference. And I like to phrase it as, now let me tell you what is different about me and what experience you're going to have that would be different from others, okay? So I always tell them what makes me different. I use verbiage like that, not all at the same time, but as what makes me different is this. Let me tell you about the difference of working with me. So that might be a great way to introduce your customer care program, all right? So what's going to happen next, you're going to paint this picture for them of how you're going to take very good care of them. So here's some verbiage, and I will be posting this verbiage in the comments and as well as on the YouTube. All right, so you don't have to write this down now because I'm going to include this. Once you choose what you'd like to get started, we'll fill out the form and I'll put your order in. You'll receive your order in 3 business days directly to your home. People love to hear that because they think that with other companies, things are sent to you, then you have to get the order to them, but no. So again, once you choose what you'd like to get started with, we'll fill out the form and I'll put your order in. You'll receive your order in 3 business days directly to your home. Before we leave each other today, we'll set up an appointment a week from now to spend 1 hour focusing on those immediate health goals we talked about, making some rollers and possibly some sprayers, and then wrapping it up with an outline of your daily routine. I'll also be connecting you to an essential oil community and sharing all the perks of your membership. So that's generally how that conversation could look like. You're going to want to get good at telling people what their experience is going to be with you after the sale, because this, again, I can't stress this enough, this is what's setting you apart. This is what many people will tell me, saying, that's free? They're like, you mean you're going to do all that and that's free? And they're just shocked because typically somebody buys something and they don't get any help. Or maybe there's a promise of, oh, I'll call you after you get your kit. Well, that doesn't really say anything to me. You want to show them, you want to paint the picture of what your customer care program. Now yours might differ a little bit, from mine, but really get that verbiage down, practice it, and practice telling people how you are going to take care of them after the point of sale, okay? Now, the 4th thing is the finale, all right? So we talked about 1 was seek to understand. Number 2, you are the guide, you're the helper, you're the advocate. Number 3 is your customer care program. And number 4 is the finale. So ask this question and this question only. Would you like to go ahead and set up your wholesale membership? That was it. That's the question. That's the question, and you're not going to say anything. You're going to wait for them to reply. So again, would you like to go ahead and set up your wholesale membership? And you're just going to zip your lips and not talk. You're going to let them talk, because this is the point where they might have a couple of objections. This is the point where they might clarify a couple things. But many times they're like, yes, but I'm not sure which kit I want. And you're like, yes, that door's open. Oh, right? And now you're just helping them, finalize that order, okay? So again, the finale, we treat it as a finale. Treat it as a joyous occasion. You've now sealed your relationship. They have this trust in you. You told them all this amazing stuff you're going to do with the customer care program, and they are like not thinking of anybody else they could possibly want to work with but you. So here's the icing on the cake. Would you like to go ahead and set up your wholesale membership? And you let them talk and you go ahead and do their order. So in the resources, you guys, I'm going to actually add more resources. I have all this printed out. I'm going to include this in the comments, but there's some great resources that are on doTERRA.com that I think you're going to really enjoy, things that I've used in the past, especially some of them are even newer. One of them is how to enroll successfully from the launch guide. And it gives you a link with scripts of exactly what to say. All right. Plus how to overcome objections. And I love it. There's very common objections in there, and it gives you a script of exactly what to say if somebody says, well, that's a little expensive, or I don't know if I have time to do this, or whatever it is. Okay. So there's some common objections in there. So you're going to get that. All right. The next one is you're going to get a link for the Natural Solutions handout video. Now, what this video is, you're going to watch, I think it's 9 minutes total of this. I give you the starting point and the ending point. You'll start at 33 minutes and end at 42. And it gives an excellent description and the psychology of the close. And like I said, when I first started, I was learning about the psychology. So then I understood more of why I was saying what I was saying, the impact it was going to have on that person. And that was really beneficial for me. So I wanted to give you that little nugget. Another resource I'm going to give you is how to develop your mindset, because many times it is a mindset thing. We're in our head and our head is saying like, I can't, when reality is we want to say I can, but our actions are coming out, I can't. Maybe we're slumped over, maybe we're not confident. So there's a a one-page worksheet that helps you develop the mindset to get into this confidence game, right? And then the last nugget I'm going to give you is a link for customer appreciation. So it's a one-page guide of what to do after they enrolled. And you can develop your own and make it more really around what you want to offer them. So I hope you enjoy all of those, and I'll go ahead and post that right away, all right? So make sure you check the weekly IPA challenge. I just posted that on the Share and Build site. And hopefully these tools will help you. Again, to recap, we're looking at seeking to understand. You're a guide and a helper and an advocate, which is number 2. Number 3 is your customer care program. And 4 is the finale. So hope you enjoyed all that. And I hope it's successful for you. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep getting to know people. Bye, y'all. Mwah.